it's amazing to think 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, or even right at the start of the season. What a transformation. And their next match against Manchester City New Year's Day, obviously their game's been called off. And the Gunners, Martin Odegaard, features in this morning's newspaper. Sam, you're back to tell us a little bit more. He's certainly on form, isn't he?
He's been fantastic, hasn't he? And so have Arsenal. 5 wins in a row, up to 4th in the table, Carabao Cup semi-final. But Martin Odegaard has received plenty of praise for some brilliant performances over the past couple of weeks. And Mark Owen, in this morning's Sun, guys, takes a real in-depth look at what he's brought to the Arsenal team this season. He writes in the Sun, his growing influence at the heart of Mikel Arteta's young team is quickly making Gunners fans forget about their former idol Mesut Ozil, because not only is Odegaard supplying the defence-splitting passes, he is also putting in the kind of shift that was beyond his predecessor. This month alone, guys, he's been involved in more goals, created more chances, and played more through balls than any other player in the Prem. Ozil spent 8 years at the Emirates, yet his contribution was virtually negligible once Arsene Wenger had been replaced as boss. Yet while Ozil had arrived from Real feeling as though he was doing Arsenal a favour, Odegaard has been a man with a point to prove. Ray, this looks a really good settled Arsenal team at the moment, but just how impressed have you been with Odegaard's form this year?
Done really well. He's a sort of player that works hard off the ball, which you need as well. As much as being a creative player, you still got to do the work rate, still got to be there, which he's done. I was just telling Ali in the break, the team itself, Arsenal, it's a very young team. I went through quite a few of the ages, and they're all 21, 22, 23. Yeah. So hopefully they'll all develop together. If they can improve together,
absolutely,
in 2 or 3 years' time, they could be a decent side. Look, the most important thing for Arsenal is keeping them together. That's the hard bit, Ali, because Saka, who's brilliant at the weekend again,
tremendous.
All the Man Cities and people like that, they'll be looking and trying. Well, can we tempt him away with a big offer? Yeah. And that's where Arsenal got to be strong and say, it's got to be down to the player as well. If he wants to move on, he wants to move on. But if he knows he's in a group of players, be
part of something
that could really get Arsenal back on the map. I mean, when I say that, it's been Champions League football, challenging for the top 3, top 2, like a Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea. Then you want to be part of that. And the only thing going for Arsenal is they come through the ranks as well. So they know the importance of playing for Arsenal Football Club. But Odegaard has been excellent. Look, when he was on loan, he probably showed enough for the manager to say, no, let's try and get him on a permanent basis. I think, if I'm being honest, Maddison would have been higher up to buy than Odegaard at that time. But I think Leicester might have been too much money at that time.
60-70 million they wanted at the time,
so
didn't they,
probably at the time they couldn't really throw £70 million at a player. So they've gone with Odegaard, and it's been a good decision in the end, because he's certainly played well in the last few weeks.
Ray, what do you think? I mean, I'm looking at Arsenal just now. They're a great watch, got to say. Loving the youth. Is it the end of the road for Aubameyang? The reason I'm asking that question is because I saw Arteta asked the question about his future. And he was very, very non-committal about Aubameyang's future. But listen, they seem to be handling games pretty well without him.
I was always worried what the reaction would be with the young players. Yeah. Because you got your captain, suddenly he's been left out, and what sort of reaction around a training camp or where, on a daily basis. But it looks like they've really responded to it. Now, I was with you. He can go either way with Aubameyang. It's all about attitude then, isn't it? It's all about going into training every morning and working hard and showing that you made a mistake and you want to try and repay the manager and the players by working hard in training and get another opportunity. Now, I don't know. I haven't been watching training. I don't know what his attitude's been like since he's been back. And if there's any comeback from it, I'm sure Mikel Arteta's delighted how they're playing at the moment. Lacazette's stepped up and been skipper and played really well, led the line really well for Arsenal at the moment. But the problem you're going to have, Ali, is a little bit like the Mesut Ozil situation. How do you get him out of the club? How do you move him on? I thought Barcelona.
So did I, mate. But
they've got Torres. They've spent their money on Torres now. So how do you get someone who's on huge wages out of the club? And that's going to be the problem moving forward for Arsenal.
Be honest, guys. It felt like the majority of the first half of last season, Arsenal were languishing the bottom end of the bottom half. Yes. And there was so much pressure on the people calling for Arteta to be sacked. Did any of you two think that this would be possible? That he would turn this around? Where now Arsenal are going in second half of this season with potentially favourites to come fourth.
I'll tell you what I will say to you. there was no way, unlike one or two presenters in this show, in this show, in this station, were wanting him sacked. There's no way I was wanting him sacked, because I'm old school in the respect that I think everybody should give everybody time. Let him build. And as Raimondo just said there, look at the youth, look at the ages of some of the players in that Arsenal team. Now, they're right up against it, and in many ways they're unlucky, because of the quality is as high in this Premier League as it's probably ever been. So the gap's probably a lot higher, a lot greater for them to close than it normally would be. You look at City and Liverpool in particular, Chelsea obviously. They are absolutely fantastic football teams, so they've got to close that gap. But they've certainly got a chance of doing it.
You say, Ray, do you think that you'll be watching an Arsenal team under Mikel Arteta playing this sort of football?
There's still a long way to go in the Premier League. So I look at it at the end of the season and say, where did they come? Is it been more positive this season? At the moment, it's fantastic. 4th place. Look, there's going to be a real... towards the end of the season, you're going to see where you've got to show a little bit more bottle at times in games, and show a little bit more what can I say, willingness to win the games, and Arsenal have been very good at that, but away form has not been great. It's been patchy this season. The Everton game was poor. You watched that game? Yeah. So they've had some poor results.
Brentford was a shock, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, Brentford. But one thing about it, they've had a reaction after they had a bad result, and they've come back the next game and play better. And I think you're always going to have a bad game, and you're always going to lose games, certain games of football. But it's how you react to it, and I think the reaction's been very good from Arsenal's point of view.
I think certainly lots of optimism, I would imagine, the Arsenal fans at this moment in time.
But they've got Man City next, so they could, Man City, the way they're playing, they could score 4 or 5 against Arsenal.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.